Hey Bagmaker, I'm Sarah Lawson from Sew Sweetness. Thanks so much for joining me for Sewcial Sunday, my weekly sewing chat. Hey everyone, happy Sunday and welcome to Sewcial Sunday. Thanks so much for joining me for the show. I saw everyone was chatting before the show. A lot of chatter going on YouTube, some on Facebook, but generally it's a little bit more on YouTube. Before we get started, my usual spam reminder. So Sew Sweetness never sends private messages on Facebook. So if you're a Facebook viewer and you receive a private message with what looks like a Sew Sweetness avatar, report or block that. I never ask for phone number, credit card information. We never ask you to send money to claim a prize. So go ahead and report or block that if you do see it. And if you're watching over on YouTube, if you've left a comment on the show and you receive a reply to your comment, again, it usually looks like a Sew Sweetness avatar. Sometimes it's asking you to send information through a certain phone number, to send money to claim your prize, asking for any other information. Go ahead and report or block that. I always will announce the giveaway winner's name verbally on the show, and we've also been adding the giveaway winner's name to the description of the show. Oh, thanks, Donna. I see Donna's asking everyone for a thumbs up for the show or a like, depending on where you're watching. Veronica's watching live. Thanks for tuning in, Veronica. And also Kathy's watching from Florida. So as you can see by the empty chair next to me, Danny will be joining me on set in just a minute. You may have seen on social media, maybe you haven't, a new product has come out for rotary cutting using a magnetic cutting mat. I just got mine the other day and I will be reviewing it on next Sunday's show. I wanted to have plenty of time to use it myself during the week leading up to next Sunday's show, and since it is a little bit of a pricier product, I wanted to make sure I used it a whole bunch before I talked about it on the show. And it's the Sew Tights magnetic cutting system. Basically, it's a two-sided cutting mat with a magnet in the middle, and it comes with a ruler, a quilting ruler that's also magnetized, and some extra magnets. So stay tuned for next Sunday's show. I'll be reviewing it in full detail on the show.
It's like a maze.
Let's see. I started watching a new show. I don't know if you have Netflix, but I started watching a new show yesterday. It's only a 4-episode limited series, so not a lot of episodes to watch, but it is about certain areas of the world where groups of people live to either around 100 years old or slightly over 100 years old, and it's called Blue Zones. Danny's going to put a graphic up on the screen. This is from the show. And the host flies around the world to these blue zones and talks to members of the community that are near 100 years old or older. And his goal doing this short documentary series was to find out how people are doing it living to 100 years old. In a lot of cases, some of these Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
You don't have to ask that.
Okay. Danny went to adjust the sound, so he'll be joining us on set in just a second. Okay, all right. Thanks, everyone. All right, Danny's going to make his way back over here. I'm not sure where it cut off. I think I saw some comments mentioning that it cut off when I was talking about blue zones. Since I don't know where it cut off, if you do have Netflix, check out the show Blue Zones. I found it really informative. These different parts of the world that he visited, they all had slightly different diets, different activities that they participated in. So it's not just one thing that led to people's longevity, but all in all, I thought it was really interesting, and I'll definitely be watching it a second time over just so I can kind of fully absorb the information included in the show. Thanks a lot for fixing the sound issues, Danny. It's always something with technology.
Yes, since last week it had a couple problems with it too. I'm not sure. Nothing changed on our end, but it's happened twice.
All right. Fingers crossed the rest of the show will be including all the sound. I also wanted to mention if you're over on Instagram, I started following this particular Instagram account, I want to say last year, and it's called Can You Sew This For Me? Basically, it's stories that people submit about, usually funny stories, of requests they've gotten for people to sew for them. Usually it's kind of a nerve-wracking or annoyed post, but sometimes there are like happy ending type of posts. So I pulled a few of these posts from over on Instagram. Danny's going to put them up on the screen. This is just sort of a sampling of what's included in this Instagram account. I've got one for you. I was talking to my kid's guidance counselor for only the second time, and during the conversation I mentioned that suddenly kiddo seems embarrassed to wear or bring handmade items to school, and I'm worried he may be afraid being made fun of. Her response was, "Oh, you sew? I might have a bag of pants for you to hem." My grandpa, whom I love dearly, came over to meet my newborn son, and he brought his pajamas to be hemmed. When the baby finally napped, he said, "Now you've got time to do those pants." Before this sleep-deprived mom could get a snarky reply, my mom told me to go nap. So stories like this, I find them amusing. Most days a new story is posted. I was showing my friend at work the new backpack I made when another coworker came up to me and said, "Hey, I'll bring you my skirt to sew. I accidentally ordered a size 20 instead of a size 2. There was no ask, no please, no understanding of how size grading works. I thought that one was hilarious also. I think we've all been there, having clothes altered. Mother-in-law bought a handmade stuffed animal at a gift shop and brought it to show my kid. Kid starts playing with it. She says, no, I just brought this to show your mom so she can make you one just like it. News to me. And I saved the one I found the most funny for last. Had someone send me a nice message on Etsy about how she felt an item I had listed was too expensive but understood that it was reasonable due to the cost of supplies. Then she told me I should start shoplifting so my supply cost would be 0 and I can sell her the finished products for much cheaper. So if you are on Instagram and would like to follow this oftentimes hilarious Instagram account, I've linked to it in the description. It's Can You Sew This For Me? And just gives me kind of a little giggle sometimes at some of the requests people are getting, real life requests for things sewed for them, pants hemmed, things of that nature. All right, so Danny's second favorite part of the show when he's on it, we'd like to invite all of the bag makers to stand proud. Let us know in the comments that you're part of the Sew Sweetness squad. Danny and I are both so grateful that you tune in to Sewcial Sunday. Thank you so much. Certainly the show would be nothing without you, and I really love kind of the chit-chat in the comments before and during the show. All right, so before we get over to Danny's pick, we left extra time for questions for tonight since last week's show, the demonstration was longer, and we had less time for questions. So if you have a question for me, you can leave it in the comments at any time during the show, and I'll be answering as many of your questions live as I can later on. So go ahead and type your question in the comments right now. It can be a sewing question about a notion or tool, a bag making question. If you have a question about my sewing history, go ahead and type those questions in the comments now, and Danny will be collecting your questions so that I can answer them later on. So Danny, let's get to your pick of the week.
All right. My pick of the week is by Sally Bobali Studio. She made this awesome, is it Percheron?
Mm-hmm.
I love the zipper pulls, the color tape. Let's look at it one more time. It was too fast.
The cat fabric is so cute too.
Yeah, I love the zipper tape with the rainbow, the blue stripe, the inside colors, the yellow and the red. I just loved everything about it. I love bright colors. Great job.
Yeah, it was like perfectly finished. Amazing job. Danny's been saving that picture for a little bit.
I saw it a couple weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's get over to some questions. How about that? Before we get over to that first question, you can just leave it on the screen. I wanted to announce the winner of last week's giveaway, and that winner is Sharon Bateman, 3958. So congratulations to you, Sharon. I noticed actually right before the show that I had an email from Sharon, so I'll be getting you your prize Tuesday, since tomorrow's a mail holiday in the United States. Tony says, Sarah, what's the shirt say? My shirt says, Save the Pollinators. So I have I'm into native Illinois gardening, so I have a lot of like garden type shirts. So I was wearing this one earlier, and I thought I'd just wear it for the show tonight too. Anne says, have you done any cross stitch lately? That's a great question, and as you probably are aware, I've been working on all these little cross stitch Halloween and Christmas ornaments from Satsuma Street, and I was in the middle of a Christmas ornament, and I haven't worked on it for, I would say, most of the summer, but I was looking at it the other day, and I was like, you know what, I sort of feel like working on them again, so I think I'm going to finish my ornament that I'm currently on. It's a deer. And she also has some brand new Halloween ornaments that she just came out with a couple weeks ago. I haven't purchased them yet because I told myself, well, you have to finish the ones you have first before you buy any new ones. But I'm going to try and hustle to finish the ones I have currently in my stash so that I can buy her new Halloween ornaments. Lisa says, how's your poodle? I'll let you answer this one since...
I think he's wonderful. I don't know what to tell you more than that.
Mikey likes to play many times a day, so I took him out twice today to play Frisbee. I walked him. We're going to walk him again tonight. It was kind of hot in Chicago today, so I would have done more with him but for the heat, but normally he likes to do things like regularly throughout the day. He's great, though. Keeps us busy and moving, certainly. March says, question, can I put a different zipper in the Baker Street bag instead of the recessed zipper? That's a good question. I'm trying to think if I've seen people put different types of zipper in there. Maybe a top zipper. I'm not sure if I've seen anyone put a different type in there. That's a good question. You certainly could substitute a magnetic snap if you'd rather have that instead of the zipper. I do have a thought about a different zipper installation where the zipper just sits on the top and the whole thing is sort of enclosed rather than the sides open. But I feel like it's going to be a long explanation for the show. But you know what? That sounds like a good idea maybe for a future demonstration. So I'm going to write that on my list, but feel free to email me if it's something that you'd like to put into your Baker Street bag sooner rather than later. Jean says, why does a pattern call for a 1/2 inch seam allowance to only cut it down to 1/4 of an inch? That's a really great question. So again, it depends on the pattern designer. When I've done this in the past, it's usually to have a little bit more like meat on the bones, like a little bit more fabric to work with, because depending on your presser foot, especially sewing through like a curved bottom, like a rectangle with like curved edges, sometimes having that little bit of extra seam allowance is helpful, but on the other hand, you don't necessarily want all that seam allowance in the finished bag because it might contribute bulk. So that would be probably one major reason why a seam allowance might be a 1/2 inch, but then trimmed down to 1/4 of an inch later on. Sarah says, I'm looking for a pattern for a yarn minder, but only for one skein. I think that's pronounced skein. That's easy to travel with. Is your yarn minder able to be sized down that much? So the yarn minder pattern actually has two different versions. One is the sort of the barrel looking bag with the zipper along the top. And there's sort of an easier, faster second version included in that same pattern that's more of a sort of drawstring bag, and that would be better for smaller amounts of yarn or a small project. So maybe, I'm not sure if you saw that already or not, but take a look at that and see if that smaller version of the bag would suit your needs for just the one skein of yarn. Laura says, would Chicago screws be sturdy enough for leather straps? I haven't purchased a rivet press yet. Yes, actually, Chicago screws are a really great alternative to rivets in case you don't want to invest in either a handheld press or a tabletop press, because the Chicago screws only need a screwdriver to install. But they
feel like the Chicago screws would be stronger than any fabric, to be honest. We should maybe test that out.
What do you mean than any fabric?
Like, say if you put two pieces of fabric together, put a Chicago screw to hold them together, pull it apart. What's going to break, the fabric or the screw?
Oh, you mean it?
Because she's wondering about leather straps because it's, it's a dense, thick.
Oh, okay. Are you comparing it to Chicago screws, or you're just saying with
I'm
or
wondering,
without?
yeah, like what would be strong? Like, is a Chicago screw really strong?
Well, so
Like
the
a rivet?
rivet, I don't know if you've ever inspected a rivet. So
Yeah,
it's like
when I
a
break 'em off.
post, and when you
Flares outwards.
right, it
Yeah.
kind of like smashes the metal a little
Yeah.
bit, and the Chicago screw's just screwed. I generally recommend putting like a drop of
Freight check.
like permanent glue inside the screw before you tighten it, because then you'll have the glue in there as reinforcement. I don't know. Between those two things, what do you think would be
I think the Chicago screw would be stronger, to be
with the
honest.
glue in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can also, I don't know if you have glue or different glue, but they actually sell, it's called thread locker, when you put on screws for
okay.
engines and cars. You can put it on one side of when you screw it in, it'll keep it from backing itself out, but not too hard where you can't unscrew it if you have to take it apart.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they have different colors.
I guess I've personally never had a bag with either rivets or Chicago screws where like
it tore.
The handle breaks off or the strap. But if you have, because I know it quite varies, if you've had anything like that, let us know in the comments. Danny will try to look out for that so we can post it up on the screen as sort of a follow-up. The question is, are you going to QuiltCon? I've
a few
actually
questions on that. Yeah.
never been to QuiltCon. Actually,
Where's it at?
Yeah, I want to know where it's at this year. I don't know. If you are going, let us know in the comments. I've never been. Maybe if it was in a close by city, it would be easier for me to go. I know that's sort of a hurdle for a lot of people, how near or far it is to where they live. But let me know if you're going and where it's at. Shannon says, Danny, did you do anything fun this summer?
Grew my beard out. I sat around a lot. I accidentally...
You hurt your foot, right?
Yeah. I got a few stitches in my foot stepping on a dumbbell early in the morning. It was not fun.
And it's still kind of, how many weeks ago? That was like 4 weeks ago?
No swimming. Didn't get to enjoy. Half of my summer was cut off short.
Terry says, are you working on any new patterns? Yes, I'm working on 4 new patterns. I'm trying my hand at a series of all small bags, just because historically I have not done really hardly any small bags, and so these are all going to be small bags. So the first 2 patterns are written. I'm sort of working at a glacial pace this time, apparently, but they'll get done, I'm hoping, sometime this fall. Julie says, what do you do when a bag is hard to birth? I've been tugging and tugging. So I guess it depends on where your opening is. So in some of my patterns, I have the opening in the zipper pocket, which I guess depending on the bag and depending on the opening size, might require a little bit more patience. You could always make the opening on the bottom of the bag instead, make the opening a little bit larger.
I've been surprised when Sarah would birth a bag and it's a larger bag and she does it through a pocket. I'm like, that's amazing. You wouldn't think it could do that.
And also, take your time. I guess I'm assuming the bag is already finished, sewn right sides together, but an alternative would be if you're making the same bag more than once and coming across that same problem and there's not a good way to leave a larger opening at the bottom of the bag, you could always finish the bag with binding. And so you'll just need to kind of modify how everything's sewn together depending on what the pattern tells you to do. But you could attach your exterior and lining pieces wrong sides together kind of sew the bag with exterior sides right side facing so that you'll have raw edges left in the lining, and then cover those raw edges with binding. I sometimes see people modify the bags so that they can cover the raw edges with binding, especially if they're using a thicker material like leather or maybe like marine vinyl, where it's just easier to kind of modify the assembly so that you can have those raw edges to bind rather than turning everything right side out at the end. Tina says, what do you know about hand weaving with a weaving loom? Will you ever explore that? I actually know nothing about that. It sounds kind of interesting. I'm not opposed to learning, or like if there was a local class or something, like I'd love to do that. I think there actually is some sort of weaving school in Chicago, but yeah, I've never done that before. If you have, let me know in the comments. Lisa says, Sarah, are you still adding more various zipper pulls? I plan on adding more later this fall. I don't have any on order currently. I guess I was trying to reassess what the next zipper pull designs will be, but if you have a suggestion for me about a zipper pull that you'd like to see, feel free to either leave that in the comments or email me your suggestion. Danielle says, Danny, your lighting setup is amazing. No reflection. Oh, on the glasses? Is that what she meant? No reflection.
That could possibly be, or even off the picture. If you have problems with reflections and you have forward-facing lights, try bouncing them off your ceiling.
Yeah, just actually bounce the light off the ceiling, right? Is that what you did with our lights?
That's what I just said, literally.
Well, it sounded like you said mounted the lights on the ceiling, so that's why I wanted to clarify.
No, I said just bounce them off the ceiling.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to watch the replay. I could have said it wrong.
Either way.
I'm a little tired.
Randy says, your bags are so beautifully colorful with fun and interesting designs, but it seems that your quilts tend to be solids. Any reason? That's a good question.
Is she saying your quilts aren't fun and interesting?
No, that's not what she's saying. She's saying the
I'm just
fabrics.
kidding. I understood what she's saying. I was just making a funny comment. I like the solid color quilts personally, and I find those to be more interesting and colorful personally.
I guess it's just my personal preference. I like a lot of like geometric designs in quilts, like stars.
Yep. And then you can't see the quilting when you have like
Yeah,
solids.
it shows machine quilting.
I love that. You get a double layer
really
of basting,
well.
nice quilting.
But again,
on
that's
it.
just personal preference. I have made a few quilts with prints, and I just really gravitate toward the solids for whatever reason. Angela says, I would probably make the mist flower instead of the yarn minder. Oh, was this for the question about the one skein of yarn? That's a good idea. I never thought about that one. Diana says, how is Olive and your bearded dragon? So my horse is named Olive. She got hurt this week, so it's called stall rest when they have an injury that they need to stay in their stall so they're not moving around or getting hurt more. So she was only on stall rest for 2 days, which is not too bad. Sometimes with like a more serious injury, it might be months or a year, which is, even the thought of that sounds a little depressing to me. But she's fine. She went outside yesterday, and I rode her at the walk yesterday, so she's on the mend. My bearded dragon's fantastic. Has a great appetite, which is always good, and she always comes out every morning to look out the window. So I love my bearded dragon so much. My horse too. Connie says, love the hummingbird and turtle zipper pulls. Yeah, the hummingbird one is a recent addition to the shop. So is the turtle. And I especially love hummingbirds. So once I saw that one, I was like, oh, I'm definitely ordering this one. Tamara says, QuiltCon is in Raleigh. Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, Raleigh.
Okay. Next February 22nd through the 25th. I'm going with a group of friends and renting an Airbnb if you want to join us, Sarah.
No, because if she goes, I get to go. And I doubt you're going to have a guy come in the midst of all the women. So I've caused a lot of problems. You know, it's enough for Sarah to rein me in.
February.
I so want to go. I really enjoy going to, we go to the local ones here, but I enjoy going to them. I love walking around when I could walk around. But I think it's fun. I like it. You just meeting people, seeing new stuff, and getting ideas. And
plus, I'm sure it'll be sort of on the warm side there in February, right?
It's North Carolina, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know how warm it'd be.
Warmer than Chicago. Yeah.
I guess it's all relative, right?
Carrie says, will you do a bundle for dog lovers patterns? I don't think I'll do a bundle, but I did definitely have a pattern with lots of different elements in it in mind, but I haven't made the moves on that yet. I sort of wanted to do one with like Pet collars, harness,
Someone mentioned a
dog
harness
pickup
earlier.
bag, maybe like a dog bed. So like everything in one pattern. I know that sounds like a lot, but
I wonder if you can do like a dog lover's like backpack, like matching bones and like Two Pink had the cat ones. You could do it. I didn't see a dog equivalent, and she has a dog, a golden retriever, I believe.
Cynthia says, how do you register your patterns so no one can take them? That's a good question. So I admit I don't know too much about the registering with Library of Congress, but I know Jaybird Quilts registers her patterns and books with them. Copyright covers the written work, so no one can just purchase one of my patterns, print them off, and distribute them to, for example, their whole quilt guild, because copyright cover protects my written work from distribution, copying it and passing it out, things like that. Kathy says, I've been sick for a week and refound my first love again, crocheting. I'm making huge gnomes. Oh, gnomes sound really fantastic, especially huge gnomes.
Well, we were just at a dinner last night with meeting our daughter's friends' parents, and they were both couples were awesome. But the one gentleman was traveling this past week from, I believe, it was like a running event.
Utah?
Utah, where he ran like 7 miles, 5 miles, and 3 miles, like an adventure run. And he was in the airport. Do you remember the picture he showed us? Did you see it?
I didn't see the
It
picture.
was a crochet wall, and it was a crochet of like an artwork of someone's face. Actually, it was the Last of Us gentleman. The actor from Last of Us. He's in a lot of shows. Really good actor, but it was amazing. Like from far back, you couldn't see it, but when you went really close,
So was it like on the whole wall?
Yeah,
or?
it was like say your picture, but large is like the whole that whole wall right there.
Interesting.
And he took a picture. It looked super duper cool.
Shannon says, have you been to Missouri Star Quilt Stores? It's great because you can visit all of their stores and they will mail home for you free of charge if you spend $59. Of course, that's not hard to do. I haven't been there, but I didn't know they did that. That sounds pretty cool that you could just buy stuff and they'll sort of like a concierge, like at Disney, where they'll just like...
Well, it's almost like you're ordering online, So if you order online from them, they're just going to ship it to your house.
That makes sense.
It's pretty much the same thing.
That makes sense.
I've seen a cool video on them, how like she's energized that area of where they're in. Is it Kansas City or something where? I don't remember where it was, but I saw some cool YouTube video on it where they have like just the whole area.
Lot of shops. Yeah, that's what she's talking about, like all the stores. And
that's super cool. You could stay there like on premise and stuff like that. I think they have a retreat center. Very cool.
Let's see. Have you used the invisible magnetic snaps? Are they easy to use? I should have a free video on my YouTube channel on my website. If you go to the So Sweetness channel and just type in magnetic snap, that should come up. I talked about the magnetic snaps with the prongs and then also the invisible ones. So most invisible magnetic snaps come in like a clear vinyl sleeve, and you basically just stitch the outer edges of the clear vinyl sleeve, the magnets encased inside, to your fabric. And I usually like to attach it to the foam interfacing before I put the fabric on, so it's sort of completely invisible. You don't see the stitches from when I attached the magnetic snap at all. I think I only used it on 1 or 2 patterns. I know the Patrilla bag for sure I used it on. I can't recall if any others. The Hyacinth bag, I used it on that one too. Pedro Pascal. Oh, that's the actor from The Last of Us. Okay.
Yep.
Tony says, do you carry painting-related zipper pulls like palettes, brushes, or plan to? I haven't, but my zipper manufacturer sent me some new designs the other day, and they did have, I think, either a palette or a brush. I'll have to double-check that, but I'll write myself a note to check it. Painting pull. Yeah, that would be a really cool pull to add for artists, art teachers, things like that. Let's see. Blake quilts, they are nearly impossible to...
Copyright?
Oh, copyright. How many simple zip pouches are there? Writing how to do it and your photos are copyrightable, however. Yeah. So the copyright is not the design of the thing. The copyright is the written work, your photos, if you have illustrations, things like that. That's what the copyright covers. not how the finished product looks. Donna says invisible magnetic snaps sound cool. Yeah, they are really cool, and they just kind of, I like using them in flaps. So as the flap is closing, it just kind of like really grabs, and it's just quiet, and it's just a really nice touch. Is your train case pattern still available from the pattern company? I forgot the company name also. I think it was, so the Crimson and Clover train cases, which is available on my website. I also released it with McCall's. I think it was McCall's. So it comes in their little pattern envelope with their tissue paper like all their other patterns do. However, the pattern they rewrote in their own words so that it would be consistent with the rest of their patterns. And so I guess that's the only thing I should mention. It's not in my original words. It's slightly reworded. But the video for the Crimson Clover train cases will also cover that pattern as well. I'm not sure if they even left the steps the same numbers, but that video should also be helpful in case you do have that original McCall's pattern. Donna says, what about a dog harness or for a therapy dog? Yeah, I kind of thought about having several things in that pet pattern, like a pet collar harness. I don't know. I guess I'm not sure when that will come out. I originally thought maybe the end of this year. It's not looking good for this year for that pattern, but hopefully I can get to it next year. Terry says, do you sell those magnetic snaps? We don't currently sell invisible magnetic snaps, but you might want to check out Emmeline bags in case you're interested in those. Sam says, do you ever use polyester embroidery thread to sew your bags? You can use polyester thread. I don't know about embroidery thread because I don't know what the weight of that is. I use cotton thread. Polyester thread would be fine for bag making as well. I guess personal preference on the cotton versus polyester. Lori says, that is how I found out about So Sweetness via the McCall's pattern train case. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you've kind of followed me over here from that McCall's pattern. Question, I would love a dog muzzle quilted with pretty fabric. Oh, I guess I never considered that. Let me write that down.
No, I'm not going to be your model to test it on.
Thoughts on using cotton thread? I heard polyester is better for bags, but I have a good bit of regular Aurifil. I don't know. I've always felt it's personal preference. I've heard people say before they like to use the same substrate as the fabric. And say, for instance, if you're using quilting cotton, some people would say, well, I like to use cotton thread because the quilting cotton is cotton, so is the thread. Polyester thread will really never break, or it's really difficult to break. Like, say, if you tried to break it with your hands. Again, personal preference. Let me know in the comments what kind of thread you use, cotton or polyester. I'm curious to see the percentages for that. Lynette says wheelchair or walker bags. That's also on my list after the next 4 small bags. I was planning on doing kind of a wheelchair walker bag pattern with like 2 different versions just to give kind of options or a variety for those types of bags. Carrie says, do you find the invisible magnets to be as strong, secure as the regular magnetic snaps? To me, they don't seem as sturdy. I guess it depends. I've seen in big box stores the invisible magnetic snaps that are sort of encased in the black material. I don't know what maybe black plastic. I don't find those to be as strong. I'm usually kind of conscious either how strong the closure of the invisible magnetic snaps are, and I try to take that into consideration where I'm attaching them. So if they're super strong, I might attach them so the snap is on the outer side of the interfacing. So when it closes, it's not like a super extremely strong hold to pull apart. If they're weaker snaps, I might position that snap on the opposite side of the interfacing so the snaps are closer together. So I guess it just depends on the snaps you have and how strong they are. I use 40-weight polyester embroidery thread in all my bags. My theory is if it's strong enough for machine embroidery, it's strong enough for bags. Oh, great comment on the polyester embroidery. Vanessa says cotton or fill mostly, but I do have polyester for machine embroidery and have substituted in for color choices on my bags. Oh, that's good to know too about the substitutions. Kay says, how about a harness for a bearded dragon? My grandson has one and is interested. Funny story, I've purchased a few harnesses on Etsy because I'd like to support other small businesses for my bearded dragon. I have a really cool set with like white vinyl wings, so she's like a little winged dragon. And I bought a nice fleecy set recently that I took to the vet. Oh no, it was a costume. It was sort of like a pumpkin costume harness, and I took it to the vet last time, and it had Velcro. I'd have to say I did not care for the Velcro at all because it was rough and scratchy, and the last couple harnesses that I bought her were she's too big. She's not overweight. She was just too big and large in size for the harness to fit around her. So I guess I'll have to go to my original little white dragon wings for her. But everyone at the vet, when I first took my bearded dragon to the vet with those with the dragon wing costume, everyone was like, oohing and awing over how cute she was in that little harness. Laura says, I was gifted a Switch for my birthday. Which bag was everyone using for a case? I think I saw a lot of people use the Hackney pouch from Minikin Season 3 for the Switch. I don't recall what size I saw people making most often. But if you did make one for a Switch, let us know in the comments. Danny will try to look out for that to post it up on the screen. I've also been looking for retreat accessories like the sewing machine mat, little thread scrap holder, manages my scissors, etc. In retreats these days, you have to be fancy. I totally agree. I think part of the fun of getting ready for a retreat is accessorizing, like either making something new for all of your sewing accessories or either color coordinating or just having like handmade things, because everyone at the sewing retreat is going to know which bags and accessories are handmade and which ones are like just the regular store-bought ones, like the plain ones. Oh, was that a question too, or was that just a comment?
It says question, but I think maybe a comment.
Okay.
Maybe she's requesting something that like patterns for it.
Okay. All right. I'll write those down. Shannon says, I love the chickadee backpack. I've made so many for gifts and I'm going to make more. Thank you so much for that feedback about that backpack. That's one of my favorites too. And I wanted to mention we ran out of the metal frames for the chickadee backpack a little bit ago. But we have new frames on the way, and I asked them to sort of expedite the shipping of those frames so we would get them faster. So if you need the frames and you haven't yet signed up for the out-of-stock notification, all you need to do is go to the product listing of the item that's out of stock, in this case, the metal frames. You'll see a little box sort of halfway down the page where you can enter your email address. And as soon as I list that item back in stock, you'll be automatically notified so you can get those frames if you need them. And another note about that backpack, the frames go in at the very end, so you can sew the whole backpack and then just wait on the frames, and they can just be slipped in at the very end. Vicky says, I would like to see more crossbody bag patterns. Hard to find ones that fit your keys, wallet, and phone. I think so. The second of the small bags that I designed is a crossbody. I'm not sure about the third and the fourth designs. I think I might have 2 crossbody bags in there. But again, those are all bags that are on the small side. Will for sure fit your phone, wallet, and a few small things, but not medium-sized bags at all. I tried to get nice and small bags for almost the first time ever for me. Anne says, yes, sewing accessories would be great. Oh, yeah, okay. I see what... That was the comments earlier about the thread scrap holder. Vanessa says, absolutely, Aliso tote and crimson and clover train case. Oh, okay. Interesting. Agree, made about the chickadee backpack. Made 3 already, and they all get the, where did you get that bag? Just love it. Yeah, I think it's a really interesting look with that 3-dimensional pocket on the front. The metal frame, of course, is really fantastic, and I had a question the other day about which of my patterns could be used for a diaper bag, and I recommended the Aragon bag and this one, the chickadee backpack, because I saw a lot of people were making that for baby shower gifts, actually.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this one means.
Courtney says, I'd love a
Maybe a duplicate for Louis Vuitton.
never full.
Maybe it's called Love Never Full from Louis Vuitton.
Okay, I'll write it down and
Probably
look it
from
up.
last week's show. You know, we had the one bag. How does similar turn into a cross?
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one, but I'll look it up
I assume that's
after the
Louis
show.
Vuitton
Gotcha.
Neverfull. Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, interesting. Kind of like the name too. Dawn says, a so long coming up soon. I don't have one planned. Probably be late fall. I was hoping to do the next one with one of the 4 new patterns. Christine says, is the discount code for the So Tights only or all items on your website? So in the description of tonight's show, even though I'm not reviewing that So Tights magnetic cutting system till next Sunday,
Next week.
I wanted to put, we have an affiliate link which will give you 15% off anything from the So Tights website. So
including the mat.
Yeah, so it's actually from their website. So you can click that link in the description and that'll give you the 15% off, but on the So Tights website.
Let me tell you how cool this thing is. When I first saw it, I was like, wow. When I first attempted to make the sling crossbody backpack.
The Park Sling.
The Park Sling.
Yep.
I thought, man, this would have been so much easier for me using a template. But I'm a novice, so everyone, I guess your mileage may vary, but it's a very cool device.
I think I heard about it at the beginning of the year and just from my distributor, they might have had like a pre-order product listing up on their website. And I saw it and I was like, I kind of didn't want to get it to review on the show, especially since it's sort of pricier. But I saw it in June in person at a trade show and I tried it out and I was like, oh, this is awesome. So it sort of changed my mind. I think that's the good thing about either going to your local quilt shop, seeing fabrics or other notions in person. Like sometimes when you get to just try it out or see it demonstrated, it sort of like changes how you originally thought about it.
I think this will be the last question.
Okay. Richard says, question, Bears and Packers prediction.
Bears are going to win 2 games against the Packers this year. They play each other twice, and they're going to win both games. And we'll leave it at that.
Are you just saying that because we live in
No,
Chicago?
Aaron Rodgers left the Packers.
Oh, okay.
And he was like their MVP, multiple-time MVP quarterback. And the Bears have a lot of young players that are looking pretty good. So.
We'll see.
No, the Bears are going to win 2 games to none.
No.
I hope. Good luck to your Packers as well. Now, it's funny. We live just outside Chicago currently, and our kids go to school here. And you wouldn't believe there's so many Packer fans, even though it's like 6 hours away from us. It's mind-boggling. I want to go over there and like steal all their jerseys and smash all their little
don't say that.
stuff in their lawn.
You don't mean that. You don't mean that. That's not nice.
I'm a diehard Bears fan, Sarah.
No, not nice.
I still watch the Super Bowl Shuffle. That's when the Bears won it in '85. They did a little dancing.
So long
song.
ago.
You gotta live in the past until you win another one. But that's it. Well, great show, everyone.
Wait.
I'm just turning the comments off.
Okay.
That's all.
We still have the giveaway for tonight. Tonight I thought I'd give away a Sublime bag, video, and PDF pattern, and a pack of black soft and stable. It's actually made in 2 different colors: white, which we carry, and black, which I just got some in, which is good
I've not seen that.
Which is good for like bright colors, darker fabrics, things like that, because it really makes those colors pop. If you happen to be the winner and you already own that pattern and video, I'm happy to substitute for a different pattern and video. But Danny put together a slideshow of some of your Sublime bag makes from the Facebook group, so he's gonna play that
Cross my
carousel.
fingers.
All right, can you hear me now? Danny went to...
I just said don't ask.
Okay. All right, I apologize about the sound issues tonight. I'm not sure how that is happening, but I think you heard me up until the last Sublime Bag photo, hopefully. So the giveaways are randomly drawn. I will announce the winner on next Sunday's show, and I have an extra bonus question for you that you can answer in the comments for an extra method of entry. Let me know, what is the most recent sewing tool or notion that you bought? So go ahead and type that in the comments right now. I'm curious to see if there's any new notions that you've been buying. So let me know in the comments so that I can check those out. Maybe it's something that I can review on a future Sewcial Sunday show. So thank you so much for tuning into Sewcial Sunday. I hope you have a fantastic week and happy sewing. Bye, everybody.